welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is BME Queen. I am a formerly trained biomedical engineer, but I am now a full-time entrepreneur and content creator. In today's video, we're going to talk about why engineers make such great creatives. I know you're watching this video and thinking, what? I have never heard that sentence before, ever. Well, that's because a lot of people don't think that engineers can be creative, but I'm here to tell you that that is totally false. You can actually be a really great creative, and there are a lot of advantages to having a technical background and working in a creative field. I have a ton of skills that I as an engineer developed while I was in school and while I was working that I think play a really great part in why I am a full-time creator now. So let me grab here's my notes. So these are the reasons why I think engineers make great creatives. First one on this list is discipline. So engineers are very used to structure and having a process or a routine of some sort. In school as an engineer or just as a scientist, learn specific procedures that you have to follow for every single project that you're working on or any type of work that you're doing. You have to go through a very specific process. And a lot of times that process remains the same to allow for consistency between projects. And because of that, because of the disciplined structure that engineers typically follow, they make really great creatives. A lot of people that I know that are creative but don't have a technical background really struggle with finding a routine or finding a process that works for them and sticking to that routine or process. I personally know a lot of creatives that only create when they feel the spark, but a lot of times the spark will come and go. If the spark is gone, they aren't putting any work towards their business or their work or their project. Whereas engineers have a better consistency because they are more disciplined. As an engineer and now full-time content creator, I have a set to-do list every single day. I have a morning routine that I keep up with every single day. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments. Because of my routine and because of my structure and because of the processes that I've developed for myself, it allows me to stay organized, but also allows me to stay disciplined. I'm always working on some type of project, even if it isn't the greatest or the best work I've ever done before in my entire career. I am always consistent, and that helps so much in a creative career because there are just sometimes where you don't feel creative, but sometimes you just have to create anyway. A lot of creatives don't do that and just strike when the iron is hot, but that isn't the best way to run a business. This strategic mindset and having a plan and having a structure of some sort really comes in handy when you're running the business side of things, or when you have to stay organized in your business and making sure that you're on top of everything that you're working on. Discipline is huge in business and in creativity, and a lot of creatives don't have that, so that's why I think engineers will be such great creatives. Another reason why engineers are really great creatives and they don't know it yet is because engineers tend to have a very different point of view on projects or problems and problem solving specifically. Because of our technical backgrounds, we're trained to look at problems from different lenses. And although a lot of creators are very, very different, a lot of them will follow the same traditional structure or will try to break boundaries on that structure in some ways. But in my experience, a lot of the scientists and technical people that I have worked with that now work in creative fields, they look at problems so incredibly differently than everyone else, and it brings a new perspective to the project or to the problem that's trying to be solved. I think that is a unique reason why engineers make really great creatives and how you could use that to your benefit if you were to work in a creative field. Another reason why I think engineers and scientists make really great creatives is because they are very detailed and very organized when it comes to their work. So of course I've met some people that are not as organized in the field of engineering, but typically will pay attention to the details with a fine-tooth comb. I cannot tell you how many times I have come across a creative that has missed so many either requirements or mistakes or just anything on their work, whether that be on the video or in a caption or with some deliverables. We are taught as engineers to look at our work and to pay very close attention to detail, especially when it comes to your deliverables, like writing a lab report or writing any sort of report or any type of documentation for someone else to read. I have met a lot of creatives at this point that don't necessarily pay attention to those small details, and even though it doesn't make or break the project, it does go to show how you care for your work and how much care you put into your work. There are some creatives that will try to make sure that every single thing is perfect, and there's never going to be something that is going to be perfect every single time. But engineers strive to make everything refined, everything consistent, and to have a very detailed answers to problems or solutions. In my opinion, I think engineers make really great creatives because they pay attention to those details that a lot of people typically wouldn't pay attention to. This next one kind of falls in line with the previous trait that I mentioned, and this one is analyzing the data. A lot of creatives just don't look at the data, which is the previous projects and the work that they have done, to try to use that to shape the future work that they want to do with the next project. As engineers and scientists, I'm trained to look at data and really comb through it and figure out what the data is showing us and how we can use that information to improve the next project or to improve the current project. In terms of being a creative, this can be looking at your previous posts to see what performed well, see what people commented and how people commented, if they liked it or if they didn't, but to also look at the analytics of the post. So did you get any followers? Where's your demographic of your audience? Where's most of your audience located? Those type of statistics are things that engineers would love to look at and really comb through, whereas a lot of creatives don't necessarily look at those things unless someone is telling them to, or unless someone is telling them that it is very important or they need to turn in that data to get paid for a partnership. From my perspective, I have used this so much where I would post a ton of content, and then after a certain amount of time, I'll go back in that content and look at what performed well, why it performed well, what do people say in the comments, were there a lot of shares, did I get any DMs or any comments like that, the post, and I will use that to inform the content that I create in the future. It's important because I don't use that to create all of that content in the future. I do use that information though to create things that I enjoy creating and that my audience enjoys seeing. I think that's a very, very unique way of being a creative. I also apply it to other fields that aren't content creation. Something like photography, the different settings that you use for any images that people really liked. If you're into videography, you can look at people use different things or different frame rates to shoot different types of content. So many things you can look at when using that information, and engineers are really good at finding patterns and making connections between those patterns to then inform future decisions. So that is a huge, huge benefit of being an engineer and having a technical background while working in a creative field. My bonus tip, and this is a bonus because not every engineer has this capability. If you do, this definitely puts you ahead of everyone else. The bonus is that engineers can explain difficult concepts in very general ways into a general audience. A lot of engineers do struggle with this trait or with this skill. If you can do this, you will knock it out the park every time. Typically, people that have a very niche understanding of specific fields or just a very niche knowledge base, I tend to get really deep in the details with very general audiences, and when they try to explain different concepts to a general basic audience, so someone who has no understanding of that niche, everything gets lost in translation and the other person has no idea what a technical person is talking about. If you can master this skill and figure out how to make a very difficult concept very easy for the average person to understand, you will do so well, and not just in the creative fields, but in every field. because this is such a difficult concept that a lot of people don't understand how to do and don't do well. I do know quite a few engineers that have mastered the skill, and in my own college and university training, we were taught how to describe our projects or our science or anything to people that were unfamiliar with our work or totally brand new to the field, or even to kids in some scenarios. So if you can do this, you will be so successful in the creative field. You will definitely be able to work with different types of people, which opens up the horizons for you to work in different areas and also make more money, which who doesn't want to do that? Those are the characteristics that I think make engineers really great creatives. If you're considering working in a creative field and don't really know how your skills will translate in that way, I can assure you that being an engineer has its perks, and having that technical background is that you have skills that most people around you in that field do not possess. I urge you to use those skills to your advantage, and once you recognize those skills, you can definitely put them to work and be successful in a creative career. If you like this video and you want to see more like this, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!